Hey, what's up guys, it's Okra1993 here, and today's video is going to be an updated version of my Atlantean Mermail deck. So let's get started and let's see this deck profile. So 40 cards in the main deck, of course, and let's start with the Atlanteans. And we got 3 copies of Neptabis. This card is the best one, I have nothing to say about this. Then 3 copies of Atlantean Dragoons. This is amazing, a 3 is really fine for this deck. And then 2 copies of heavy infantry and 1 marksman to round out the Atlantean package. So 6 Atlanteans to discard for the Neptabis, so you can activate Neptabis 3 times. So I think that this is a good ratio. Marksman comes handy in this meta deck because a lot of players in a lot of meta decks set a lot, starting from Alchgeist, going to Trickstars or some random Palozoics and Sky Strikers. They all set a lot, also True Dracos. So the 1 marksman can be useful and then can unlock your hands in the instances in which you don't see Neptabis. You can normal summon marksman, and then into the battle phase you special summon Neptabis, and into your main phase 2 you can resolve it. Then for the Atlanteans, for the Mermaid, sorry, we got 3 copies of Abistius. This is pretty self-explanatory, 3 copies because this is really the best card in the deck, I think. Discard 1 and to summon it, and then when this gets summoned you can add 1 Mermail, so it just replaces itself with another card, and that's really important in the economy of the deck. Then 2 copies of Abyss Megalo. I don't run something like Pot of Desires or stuff like that, so having 2 Megalos is fine for me because I don't want to clog with this. If you draw multiple of them, it's not so good, so 2 is okay. Then the 1 Abyss Sturge and the 1 Gun. I think that I will really cut the Abyss Sturge because I'm really sick and tired of breaking with this one. It's useful sometimes when you reborn it through Monster Reborn or Soul Charge, but it's a brick. You can play 2 copies of Gun if you want a second target for your Thieves, or just playing 1 Gun and that's fine, and playing something else instead of Turge. If you're running the Genex package, you can also run Pike instead of Turge, which is really better because you can add the Genex Undying. Then for the other cards we got the 1 Deep Sea Diva, 4th copy of Neptabis, the 1 Mulling Glacier to end loop your opponent, the 2 Gamma Seals, the 1 Radiant and the 1 Comungus. These Kaijus are fine in these meta decks, in this meta game, because a lot of meta decks are playing really hard to go over cards. So this is insta win against Sky Strikers. This is an out to everything that your opponent can summon through the Waking the Dragon, and they are pretty good. So I would have run 3 Gamma Seals if I don't want to run this, but I think that it's worth it to run also 2 copies of this one. Firstly because they are level 7, so they are number 42 enabler, and secondly because Slumber is a really strong card, especially in a going second build as this deck is. Then for the hand traps, this is a going second build, so it's heavy hand trap. As you can see, I'm running 2 copies of Ash Blossom, 2 copies of Ghost Ogre, and 2 copies of Drone a Lockbird. So this ratio is fine, I guess. Sometimes it's bricky if the opponent lets you go first, but it's really hard that this happens, so it's really difficult that this happens, so you just want to see your hand traps in order to lock your opponent. Draw a Lock is not so fine now, it's a little bit lower rated, but against the FTKs is good, against the Sky Striker matchup is good, and Ghost Ogre is a little bit better now, and Ash Blossom is of course one of the best hand traps in the whole game. So I think they're running 6 hand traps plus the 4 kaijus is even more than enough, so you can also cast a couple of hand traps if you want, and just as personal preferences. So that's it for the monsters. Let's go into the spell cards, where we can find 2 copies of Moray of Greed. Moray is good, but not so good. Moray's got a lot of problems, and if we have to talk about the draw power of this deck, we need to talk a lot, because draw cards for this deck are Moray of Greed, Light of Sekka, Sacred Swords of 7 stars if you want, Pot of Desires, and all of these cards have some issues with the deck. So talking about Moray of Greed, if you're running Moray of Greed, that's fine, maybe it's the best one for the deck, but if you top deck this, it's shit. If you got one water monster and then you draw this one, this is vanilla, useless. Then if you start with a good hand, something like Neptabis and Abystius plus Moray, you don't want to resolve Moray, because you already got your cards, the cards you need into your hand, so Moray is useless once again. The good thing about Moray is that this is not once per turn first, so this is really good. If you draw multiple of them and you're able to resolve them, it's fine. And the second pro of this card is that shuffling back is not a cost. So if you go Moray of Greed and then your opponent Ash Blossom you just lose 1 card. If you gotta talk about the Light of Sekka, the problem is that playing Light of Sekka, if you play Light of Sekka, the deck is weaker and more vulnerable in my opinion, because the problem is that you cannot play something like the Call by the Grave, Raigeki 1-for-1, and all the cards that give you consistency and give you protection. So if you go first and play the Light of Sekka version, it doesn't matter if you draw 2 cards through the Light of Sekka, you can shuffle back 1. It really doesn't matter, because if the opponent just draw a lock you are done. If the opponent Ash Blossom your Dragoons, you are done. So you will need Call by the Grave. Then we got the Sacred Sword of 7 stars. That is bad, because first it was once per turn, and second, banishing your level 7 monster is a cost. So if you activate the sword and you banish your level 7 and your opponent Ash Blossom you will lose 2 cards, and that's pretty bad. And then Pot of Desires, you can try it, but the problem is banishing Dragoons, so maybe you can try it at 1. Then for the other spell cards, sorry for these excursus, we got 2 copies of Twin Twisters. Twin Twisters is amazing now, because as I said before, the meta decks are setting a lot of cards, so you just want something that is good, both going first and second. Then 2 copies of Call by the Grave. As I said before, you really want to play these cards in this deck, because this deck is so fragile and so vulnerable to hand traps, so you will need Call by the Grave for sure, just trust me. Then with 1 Raigeki, the 1 Slumber, the 1 Soul Charge, a lot of mono copies, really good, the 1 Monster Reborn, the 1 1-for-1, it is another Neptabis, and the 1 Abyss Scale of the Mizuchi in order to OTK. Then the other problem with Light of Sekka is that you cannot run Mizuchi, so you cannot OTK. So if you run a Sekka version, I suggest you to go first. But the problems are that you cannot play this one. So that's it for the main deck, no trap cards at all. Then for the extra deck, we can find the 1 Centauria. I personally like to play this one because I often break with double heavy infantry. And then if you got double heavy infantry in hand, you summon the first one, summon the second one, and go into your rank 2 play. And then with this one you can bounce back the kaijus that you drop on the opponent field. Then the 1 Tree Toad, because you can summon it through the Bahamut Shark. As you can see, I cut the frog engine. Frogs are nice, but they are bricky as well. Then the 1 Tomahawk, that is amazing, and the 1 Gaius, because Gaius is fine. In all the instances you cannot summon 42, or 42 is not useful. It is a 0 of attack, so If you just need to beat over the opponent's monster and you got 2 level 7s, you want to go Gaius. Also, if you go first and you don't have enough resources to resolve properly the number 42 in order to handle up your opponent, you will go to Gaius, and then you can equip also the Mizuchi on it, so that's fine. Then for Link monsters, we got the one Mermaid. Mermaid is good, especially if you're running the Ibli, which I'm not because I don't like him. I don't like her. It's good because when you discard, this is a water monster, so you can trigger the Atlantean's effect. I'm just running it because I want to trigger Firewall Dragon. You know what I mean. Then the one Link Spider and the one Link Rebo. Link Rebo is amazing. Then the one Star Boy. For Link choose the one Phoenix and the one Cerberus. And then for Link 3 we got the one they call Talker. It's better if you play something else like Unicorn, of course, but I just have this one. Then the one Firewall Dragon that I still don't have it. The one Gambler in order to handle up your opponent, and the one Saryuja. So with this deck I'm playing also the Gambler, as you can see, so if you go second you just OTK, if you go first one you handle up your opponent, so that's pretty nice. Then for the side deck we can find the third Drone Lockbird, because if you play against FTKs you really want to stop them. Then 2 copies of DD Crow. DD Crow is fine against a lot of decks. No one is playing DD Crow, is really underrated in my opinion. You can banish the Reincarnation target, you can banish Fairy Tail Snow, you can banish anything. Against BA is good, against Sky Striker is good, against Trickstar is good. It's really good. And generic, that's the most effective point of this card. Then the 2 copies of Share Ride. When you're going first you side out the Drolelocks and put this one in. Then the 2 copies of Book of Eclipse. I would have run the third one, I just need to find it because Thunder Dragons are amazing and you really want to have your Book of Eclipse in order to OTK your opponent anyway and spin all the Colossus and the other shit that Thunder Dragons are placing on the field by using the Marksman or the Unicorn or other stuff like that. Then for the trap cards we got double Magical Deflector. This is another underrated card in my opinion, and that's the only card that can stop the Scapegoat, and it's good against Spiral, it's good against Sky Strikers, it's good against Trickstars, it's really good also against Draco. Then 3 copies of Red Reboot. Red Reboot is amazing, and it doesn't matter, especially in this deck, if you pay half of your life points by activating this card from your hand. It doesn't matter because you can OTK easily, and you don't have to worry anymore about the Reincarnation, the Altergate stuff, and all the other bad things that your opponent are activating. Then the double Anti-Spell Fragrance in order to slow down random spell decks or pendulum decks. Anyone Imperial Order, because it's self-explanatory. I don't know what to say about this one. So that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you got some suggestions, please comment down below, leave a like and subscribe to the channel to support me, and see you in the next one.